Thank you for joining For Our Special Kids, where we openly and honestly discuss the magic and the mess of raising a child with special needs. We are thrilled to have you here and hope this time provides you with some wonder and wisdom. I'm your host, Jennifer Lansing. Let's get started. I wanted to highlight an incredible organization today that has changed the life for our daughter Teal, and I know for so many other families in the California area. A few notes before we begin the conversation with Haakon. He references a few locations in Lake Tahoe, California. So Donner Summit and Alpine are both ski resorts within the Tahoe Basin. But don't be discouraged. Haakon mentions Move United, where you can find programs for you or your child online at moveunitedsport.org. You'll see quickly that Achieve Tahoe is a pretty special organization, the first of its kind to provide adaptive sports to our magical community of kids and adults. Thanks for taking time to listen. And please share this interview with anyone who's been missing the pure freedom and joy that sport brings to our lives. I hope you enjoy, and let me know what you think. Well, I am honored to introduce Haakon Lang-Ree, who migrated from Norway as a child at age 3.5 years old. He grew up in the Bay Area and has 2 degrees from Stanford in organizational behavior. Haakon started volunteering for Achieve Tahoe in 1992 and became an adaptive instructor. He decided to move here to Tahoe to take a full-time job with Achieve Tahoe in 1995. In 2013, Haakon became the executive director and basically is now in charge of everything. Right, Haakon? We are so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was a pleasure.
Well, I love Achieve Tahoe. It's changed our world. It's changed Teal's world. So let's tell everybody what Achieve really is, what Achieve Tahoe is, when it was established, by whom, and then what's the overall philosophy?
Sure. I'll basically start with our mission, which is basically to build health, confidence, and independence. So 3 key areas for people with disabilities. And we do that through outdoor recreation and sports. And I've been doing that now for over 55 years, I guess. So I've only been around for half the history. But it started way back in '67 with a PE teacher, believe it or not, from Sacramento, who was also a ski instructor over up on Donner Summit. He saw the need for Vietnam veterans coming home with limb loss, and he was a ski instructor and thought they needed to participate in this as well. So from there, kind of evolved the kernel of adaptive skiing. At least in this country, they devised techniques, equipment, and all kinds of ways to make that possible for that population at that time. Obviously, we have expanded quite a lot since those days, 55 years ago. And some of those first people that Jim Winters, the founder, he taught in those first few years, they became really involved and made it their life's work to develop nationally this whole network of adaptive programs. What we call adaptive, it's basically we take regular sports and we adapt them to the needs of people with disabilities. And that's where the fun is, at least for us. It's taking that and making it possible for people to do things that they may not have thought they could do, but we certainly think they can. So we do all we can to make that happen.
I didn't realize that was the crux of the program. What a gift to those veterans coming home who served our country and then had a chance to try something new. You mentioned that Achieve is national. So if listeners are in Florida, can they find an Achieve program or an adaptive program that's been modeled off of Achieve Tahoe?
Yes, certainly. Over the last 50 years or so, there have been, I'll say, hundreds and hundreds of different programs. Many of them are nonprofits like we are. We're a standalone 501c3. There are many others that are through rehab centers, through hospitals, or through public parks and rec departments. There's a whole array. You can even at university level, it goes on and on. Wherever there are sport or recreation, there should be an adaptive program connected to that would also provide those services to people with disabilities. So we, way back when we started kind of in the early years, back in the 70s, the group then saw that this was a really big need and it was untapped. So they made a huge push to what we call chapter building. They went around the country basically with the dog and pony show, trying to establish programs all around. our basis was in the ski industry. So ours were all skiers, so that group at the time, and that was the big sport in the early days. And there's something special about skiing and gravity and sliding on snow and being outdoors, and there's a lot of positives to that that I think we all recognize as beneficial, as did this group of pioneers. They took that upon themselves to spread that word across the country and created what is now an organization called Move United. So if someone really wants to look for something in their neighborhood, I would go there first. We were the founding chapter of what is now well over 200 chapters strong. Most are all independent organizations like us, and we're loosely affiliated through this chapter network. So you could find it anywhere and almost any sport. And if you're in a neighborhood where there is no sport that is adaptive, well, go ahead and make one.
Yeah.
We're in a really great period right now in our history where I think that anything is possible. So if you think there's a need, reach out to someone who does it similarly somewhere else and create it in your neighborhood.
Nice. I love that. I'm so lucky, right? And Teal and my husband, Alex, are so lucky. We literally live like 6 miles from you guys.
Right.
I mean, are you kidding me? Like, what a huge benefit. And truthfully, we had a couple of friends from the Bay Area that before we even had Teal had volunteered with you and mentioned just how powerful the program was, and just how powerful, not just for the athletes, but for everyone. The parents, the caregivers, you guys, the instructors, the type of person that you bring into your program here, and the love and the energy and the overall acceptance, like just this, hey, we're going to make this work. We're going to listen to you as a parent, and we're going to listen to you as a kid or an adult, and we're going to make this work for you. And that, Haakon, it changes. I told you I was going to cry. It changes everything for these families. And for, like you said, being on snow, just the spark and the love and the belief that these people have all of a sudden just lights up in them. I love it. So I don't know if you have outside of Teal, who's probably your favorite story yet. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll tell Teal's story in a second, but
she is a trooper.
She's such a good kid. Is there any just athlete that you've worked with either in winter sports or summer sports that just really sticks out to you?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because it is much more than just that one individual getting the benefit. Of course, our volunteers, our staff, parents, you name it. Yeah, one example that I can think of goes back a few years to a guy named Walter, and he was in our water ski program, which we've also done for decades now, kind of one of the pioneering adaptive water ski programs. And it speaks a little bit to our values or our goals, mission of building health, confidence, independence. Obviously, most people understand the health benefit of being active and participating in recreation and sports. The confidence as well, when you can show that you can do something and you can kind of take on other challenges in life just because you succeeded somewhere else. But the one that strikes me most about Walter is the independence. And he was a guy, I think maybe why it just sort of struck home with me. We're about the same age at the time. We were both immigrated as children from Europe. He came from Germany, so he was a pretty traditional German family living at home with his parents. And I think he had to have been in his mid to late 20s at this time. He had spina bifida, which is something that he'd had since birth. And it affected, parts of his life, but not everything, obviously. But he had really was I almost want to say a shut-in, stay-at-home guy with his parents. And he came out water skiing, and the doors opened up for him. He lit up when he started water skiing and realizing he could do it himself. And he was a sit-down water skiing, which is something we specialize in. And with a little work, but actually a lot of happiness, he was able to be almost completely independent as a water skier. And it just kind of opened him up. I could see him blossom. It was quite remarkable. And as we're going along that summer, he came multiple times, just like you and Teal do, to come skiing. He showed up one day in this big, shiny new red truck, and it wasn't his parents driving him this time. And I was like, Walter, is that you? What is going on? He's like, oh, yeah, I bought this truck. And guess what? I'm moving out, too. I got a place of my own. And he even said he credited the experience water skiing with us and realizing who he was, that he could break out and become, an independent contributor to society. And I guess the rest is history. I haven't seen him since. He's off. So, but it's stories like that we see almost every day. Yeah.
Oh, I'm crying. Like that's,
I didn't mean to make you cry.
no, I already warned you in the beginning. I was like, totally going to cry. I love your program. I love
Yeah.
what you've done for people and for Teal and us. And you know, the really sad but fun part is you didn't hear from him again. And that's okay, because you created this independent person who said, I can do all sorts of things in this world. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep. We don't want to keep people around. We want to graduate folks to live their own lives. And most of the activities we choose are things that can be done with friends and family. And that's on purpose. Right. We want people to be out there doing all this fun stuff that most people take for granted. Certainly when they come visit the Tahoe area, if you're so-called able-bodied, you just do these things without a thought. Whereas people with disabilities need a little bit more help, whether it's getting them off the couch or just once they're here, getting them to succeed in a way that works for them and works for what their needs are. So more power to them if they can leave our nest and move on.
Oh, and what a gift for just his parents. And I'm like, oh, I couldn't even imagine being that parent. You're like, you're going to move out? Amazing.
Right. Exactly. I know.
I'm sure they were a little freaked out as well, but yeah. That's really cool. So you mentioned summer and winter sports. Winter sports, you've got skiing and
snowboarding. Yeah. And skiing and skiing. Yeah. And snowboarding. Yeah.
And snowboarding. And then summer sports, you do water skiing. And then what else?
I'm going to have to say it alphabetically just so I can remember it. We've just the last couple of years, we've really built up more and more programs. So we do archery, climbing, equestrian, hiking, kayaking, paddleboarding, sailing, and water skiing, as well as some other things like sea-doo rides on special water sports days. So a little of everything. And the real goal is to be able to offer what people would come to Tahoe to do anyway with their friends or family, or even those people who live here. What are these pursuits that we love to do in the Lake Tahoe region? So we just want to mirror that for this population.
Well, it's incredible. You mentioned that well, I don't know if you actually said this, but you meet people where they are. For example, Teal wasn't walking when she started with you when she was 3.5, almost 4. And this is her second season. So she wasn't walking. And instead of you guys just saying, okay, well, that means she has to sit down, you listened to Alex and me. You guys did an interview with us. It was actually on Zoom, which is really cool. Yeah. You looked at
the COVID thing.
Because of COVID. Yeah. You looked at Teal. I said, listen, she can stand. So do we have to teach her how to sit down or how to ski sitting down? And nothing against skiing sitting down, but I literally was like, let's see if she can do this. And you guys were like, yeah, let's see. That first time, I'm not even kidding, Haakon. You guys put 3 instructors on Teal. She had 3 instructors with her, which is phenomenal. It was a weekday. Everyone who's thinking they didn't get 3 instructors with you, it was a weekday. That does make a difference. You guys put 3 instructors on her, one for like pure entertainment purposes, I think, just to keep her like, whoa, Teal. And then 2 others to really look at her. All of you guys came out and helped and figured out the right setup for her. And you listened to me and some of the neuro movement stuff and neuro horizons things that I mentioned. And then I am not kidding you. I think she was on the snow for 10 minutes, just kind of like figuring it all out. And you guys were all right, let's get her on the lift. I don't know why I was sitting alone on the lift behind her. And I realized that you guys opened up our world because I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to ski with her. And I called my mom and I was like, I'm on a ski lift behind my daughter. And I just was bawling. And of course, my mom was like, what? She's never even been on skis before. And I was like, I know, but she's going to ski. And you guys just got her going and she giggled and laughed. And, now she's skiing independently with just little tethers on her front little skis. It's amazing. So I just want you to know, I can't thank you enough for doing that and providing that for Teal and our family. And I know that I am one of hundreds and hundreds of stories. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, on behalf of all our great volunteers and instructors, which are many, you're welcome. And it's definitely what we live for out there. And especially Teal is pretty easy with that big smile of hers. It's pretty easy to get charmed by her. And she works hard at it too.
She does work hard.
She wants to do it.
She does want to, and she gets it. And, she's up here with you guys weekly. So that makes a huge difference. But at the same time, you also, like, I remember seeing a boy who just really didn't even want to ski much, but he was out on the snow and he was on his skis and his instructor let him just do what he needed to do, and just being out of his parents' eyes and just doing what he needed. And you guys just met him exactly where he was. It was so powerful to just see that as well. It's not always about, did you ski down a run?
That's a really good point. Kind of how we define success is really based on where the participant is coming from and what their needs are, what their goals are and interests, and how they feel that day. Even there's a lot of variables that go into play.
So true.
Yeah, it really is the student-centered. And while we say we work with people with disabilities, that's obviously the population we serve, and it's all disabilities of pretty much all ages. I mean, I won't say all disabilities. There are probably a few limits where it's just not safe, but for the most part, we can work it out. And the thing that we notice right away is that disability is just one part of that person, just like we all have many, many parts to our lives. And that sort of goes into the background as soon as we start interacting with each other. So the disability may be what brought them there, but it's really not the focus of the lesson. So the focus becomes what their abilities are, what they can do, what they want to do, and work with that. Kind of runs the gamut. I have to say, a lot of times I forget what people's disabilities are because that's not really what the story is.
Hopefully this podcast gives people a community where we all get together and celebrate the magic of these kids and these adults, and that these individuals have personalities and magic within them. And it's such I love it that you just said, I sometimes even forget that we're even dealing with any disabilities, because the laughter or the fun or the giggling or just like the freedom that you're giving. Yeah. And the number of people that I have met, whether it's parents sitting in the parking lot or watching at the, the base, waiting for their child or adult to come down, or eating lunch, or all of that. I mean, the people that you have attracted are just incredible. Are there any types of disabilities that really would not work? I know epilepsy, you take that one into consideration, no problem.
Yes, we can work with that. Do some safety things so they don't fall off chairlifts, but otherwise it's relatively safe. There's really only two that come to mind is what's generally called brittle bone disease. Someone who, it's just bumping or falling. We really don't want someone more injured than they came.
Right.
And then another would probably be vent dependent, someone who really cannot breathe on their own, where they actually have to use a ventilator, to breathe. And that's kind of a tough thing in our environment. And certainly in the water sports. Right. We're a little bit more limited in water sports, so we do expect the participant to be able to right themselves if they're floating in the water with a life vest on. Obviously, they have to be able to independently take breaths. We really don't want to take that risk. But we don't have that problem on the mountain.
No, and how amazing, though, that literally that's so any parent or caregiver or family member or even potential participant who's listening, you are welcome, and they're going to make it work for you. Every single time Teal's out there, you guys try something new with her. Like Hannah worked with Teal consistently. We got really lucky, but there's also, it doesn't even matter whom you work with. Everybody is amazing. But Hannah looked at Teal every time and was like, let's try something new. It's time for her to learn how to turn. Let's try something new. And it was so fun to just, you guys are always thinking and evaluating. And I know you guys all talk about the students as well, or the athletes as well. Like you go behind and someone will be like, well, Haakon thought we could try this, and that's so fun, is that you're always being creative.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed that out. Kind of one of our well-kept secrets that I think sometimes we as the volunteers and instructors get more out of it than the students. But a lot of what's kept me around for now 30 years is that challenge, is the problem solving, is being able to, because not everyone, let's put it this way, everyone is completely different. They may have the exact same disability, same age, gender, whatever, but they're different people. So again, the disability is just one piece of the equation that you have to consider. So we just have to be very, like you said, creative and a lot of problem solving and consulting each other to kind of tackle that. And I think that's what keeps a lot of our volunteers coming back year in and year out, besides being able to hang out with each other and families like you guys and participants.
Well, I mean, Teal is pretty amazing. So, okay. So if you wanted to volunteer, let's say, what's the process? Like, what do people do?
A couple of ways to get involved with Achieve Tahoe. Quite simply, you can volunteer in whatever of the programs or sports that we do. Most of them, you don't need to be an expert in that sport. You need to have some experience or background, but it varies from activity to activity. And the best route is going to our website, achievetahoe.org, and clicking on the volunteer tab. And there's actually an online application or profile. And once you complete that, we'll get in touch with you and go from there. The other, probably more obvious way to get involved with us is to be a participant or student and come out and play with us. We focus on learning a skill. So we're not kind of giving a ride or an adventure, so to speak. It's more, this is a sport, whether it's archery or hiking or kayaking, you're going to learn how to do this as independently as possible for you right now. And this may take years and years, or you might get some satisfaction right in the first day. Hopefully you do. We're pretty confident that we have success in the first 10 minutes, actually. So the same process for you. If you want to participate, just go on our website, achievetahoe.org, and there's a participate tab that lists all of our activities. We have a calendar for summer that is just out. I don't even know. We probably operate over 200 calendar days a year. So there's something almost every day. So it's not just every other weekend kind of thing. So you can get pretty involved. Obviously, snow sports, we're here 7 days a week during the ski season. In the summer, once the snow melts, we're back at it.
So currently you're breathing?
Yeah, trying to breathe a little bit. Yeah, getting ready for the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are probably the two most direct ways to get engaged, either as a volunteer or participant or both. We have many volunteers who were participants or other volunteers who were participants' families. So we'll talk to you and Alex about that down the road too. So we'll rope you in.
There are quite a few parents that now are instructors, and
there are, yeah.
People love stories. I love stories. So is there another athlete or participant that you just pops into your head? I mean, I'll give you a quick one. Hannah, who's been working with Teal, she just went skiing with someone that she's been working with for 19 years.
Oh yeah, that's right. She's with Terry.
That's amazing to me. So I don't know if there's any stories.
I have to say, I mean, it might sound corny, but I enjoy all of them. It's funny because there's a huge variety, both in ages. I think we've served from 3 to 95 or plus, and disabilities, hundreds and hundreds of different disabilities, some that we've never heard of before that are one of a kind or very rare. So we're learning all the time as well. It's just the variety is what I like, but it's funny because it's the lesson I don't remember so much. It's just the people and it's more the attitude, and we get it just from our volunteers as well. I can't emphasize enough that the organization would not be here without volunteers. So everyone has the mindset of a volunteer. They're giving of their own heart and expertise and energy, and those are the folks who really kind of keep me going year in and year out.
Well, and I met, I think he was 19 years old. He was working with Teal. He was in school at Berkeley, but dedicated like 2 or 3 days a week, drove up here, did an afternoon lesson, drove home. I mean, the dedication and then the pure joy, but you've opened people's eyes to a different way of working with people. You guys all don't make it just about like we talked about. It's not just about getting down the hill. It's about making sure that everyone is participating. And I think what I saw was just this whole variety. I mean, you had one person, Mackenzie, I believe, worked with us last year, that literally delayed going to medical school to work another year with you guys. And I mean, that's how dedicated these people are. So you also have internships that you offer. Yes. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. And Mackenzie was one of those interns. It's basically a full 5-month program, full-time work during the winter. In exchange for their full-time work, we provide them with housing and a relatively small stipend for some living expenses and a season pass, and then lots and lots of fun on lessons and also training. Most of them, I would say almost all of them over the last several years, leave us with certifications in Professional Ski Instructors of America, both an adaptive and alpine certification. And that's kind of the governing body for ski instruction at any resort that you go to. You should ask for a PSIA certified instructor, because then you're you're making sure that they're abiding by certain standards and safety and techniques that work. We were one of the programs, thanks to some of the folks who are still active with us, pioneering the whole adaptive part of ski teaching. So we're kind of proud to be part of that whole movement as well. But yeah, so that's what the interns they get. They get fun and meet a bunch of friends that have become friends and stay friends for a long time.
You can tell when everyone's done with lessons at the end of the day, everyone's like, hey, what are you guys doing? And it's a really cool program. And from someone who does live here full time, lodging is not cheap. And so the fact that you guys provide lodging for your interns is gargantuan. It's a huge perk.
Always a challenge. Yeah.
And a ski pass. Like what? Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah. Well, most of the time they're using it, they're working, but at least they get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but so who cares? I mean, it's awesome. You mentioned 3 to 95. So any age group, you're always going to just do the best to give people just the best experience. So is there anything that we'll talk a little bit about more how people can financially contribute? And I know there's like a donate button at achievetahoe.org, but are there any other programs? I know you guys do the fun summer days and you just got done with the gala. Tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing throughout the year so people can understand that.
Let's see, every now and then we do some small or not small, but we do a few special events. And the gala that you're talking about, we usually have in the late winter, and that's 200 plus sit down, nice dinner with presentations, and it's a big fundraiser for us, as most galas are, with silent auction, other things. We also do kind of a fun peer-to-peer fundraiser that we have during the course of the winter, and that's where everyone can get involved, as you guys did. And you basically get a web page and you hit up your friends and family and enemies and anyone and you ask them to donate to the cause. And then and we raise lots of money, and we always celebrate that with a really fun party on the hill with the games and costumes and food and all kinds of stuff. Just to be all together, which is kind of a neat thing to have 100, 200 people even all out there at the same time. There's a few other events that we do over the course of the summer, but events aren't really a big part of our fundraising. Other than those, a couple, we are still really just dependent on private donations. Like over half of the money we need to operate comes from private donations. It's not accidental because we deliberately keep our rates low. So the fees that we charge to participate are well below market price. So they're heavily subsidized by that fundraising, because that's, at least we can try to knock down one of the many barriers to participation. And if that's paying a fee, then we'll gladly either waive it or scholarship people or find a way to make it possible.
Well, and that's really amazing. I mean, the amount for a lesson also includes the lift ticket, which the lift ticket is more than the cost of a lesson. Way more. More right now.
It is a lot more. Yeah.
So the fact that you get a lift ticket and two people, depending upon your, needs, people to help you and keep you safe and help you have fun and teach you. I think love it how you said, no, we want people to also walk away with a skill. We want Teal to ski. I don't want her to just have fun. Oh gosh, I'm such a bad parent, but I wanted to learn how to ski, and you guys do such a good job. Yeah. Like learning a skill and having fun while you're doing it and feeling the freedom and empowerment and individuality and no one touching her, right? Like there's something, I'm always touching her. I don't want her to fall. She's not walking yet. We're getting there, but you guys, you've given her that freedom to just not have anything touching her. She flies down the hill and laughs and laughs and laughs and points here and goes there. And it's just this joy. I mean, I like to participate just because I like to see her. A lot of parents don't, and I think that's positive too, but I do just enjoy just hearing her giggle and seeing her on a lift with somebody else and just knowing that they're building a relationship. And I think that's what I'm hearing above and beyond everything, is that you're giving individuals with disabilities an opportunity to make a new relationship with themselves, a new relationship with a sport, and a new relationship with all sorts of people that are teaching them and hopefully creating friendships that last a lifetime. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well put. Good summary.
I can't even explain to you how powerful what you're doing is. And if anybody thinks like, I don't think I can do that, don't believe that, because gosh, give Achieve Tahoe a call. And if they don't have something in your area, they'll find somebody for you. I promise. You guys are all just amazing. All of your all of the people that answer the phone, whether it's Risa or Marina or you or anybody, it's everybody just helps to make these experiences amazing for people. So for that, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I just adore your program. And I hope so many people take a little step forward and say, I'm going to see if I can do it. I'm going to see if I can do it.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
We are here waiting for them. So, and things are getting easier and easier as the years go by. It's just more accepted. So don't make up any excuses. Come up here and give it a try.
Just give it a try and let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm scared of. It's about getting over those fears and accepting them. And I mean, everybody that lives with a disability or has a child there's all sorts of fears. And I think you guys give people an opportunity to just let go of the fear and trust. So thank you for doing that for us.
That is, well, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
So tell everybody one more time how they can get in touch with the organization, if they can email you direct. Surprise.
The easiest is just go right to our website, which is achievetahoe.org. And yes, you can find my email right on there. So I'm happy to respond to emails. You can call anyone on our staff. We're all there, ready and willing to answer your questions and accommodate what your needs are. Yeah, come join us or find a place close to you if you're not in the Northern California area, or look around. You'd be surprised what you might find. And we can help lead you to that as well.
And we'll put all of the links in the show notes that people can get in touch with you guys and the other organization.
Move United.
Yeah, Move United. I'll put that up there as well so people can find all sorts of different locations. I really appreciate your time, Haakon. I know you're extremely busy with all of these amazing things that you're offering. And so thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you found one or two meaningful nuggets of information to make your day better. If you think there's value in what we do, please take a moment to tell another friend, family member, or a caregiver. We'd love to hear from you at forourspecialkids@gmail.com. You can send in a question, a comment, a topic that you'd like to learn more about, or if you'd like us to highlight a certain person, please send that information to us. It makes our show so much better and so much more valuable for you. Our Facebook and Instagram handle is For Our Special Kids. And finally, remember to witness the wonder and the wisdom within yourself and others. Until next time.